how abandonment trauma fragments your identity and what to do about it. In case we haven't met yet, I'm Jess X Goh, and I'm the sole founder of Life in Confidence. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss out on the latest insight into trauma recovery. If you got any nuggets of gold from this video, please give it a like, comment below what you got from it, and share it with your loved ones who need to hear this right now. You see, when we don't have a healthy role model, such as a healthy mother and father, to show us what love is, to show us what self-care looks and feels like, to show us when to slow down and when to pause, and also how can we show up as our authentic selves to pursue our goals and dreams from the heart, to make the best decisions and choices in honoring who we really are. And so when something is missing within ourselves, there is a fragmentation that has occurred in your upbringing. Perhaps you weren't raised directly by your biological parents. Perhaps you were raised by a single parent. Perhaps you were raised by both parents, but they were quite absent. Perhaps physically because they had to work, or emotionally because they were so shut down. Or perhaps you experienced a lot of violence and abuse. And so what this does to a child's identity is that we start to look for love in the wrong places and spaces. We constantly are seeking attention and affection in order to fill this emptiness from the inside. And that's our lungs. Our lungs carry life force energy through the breath. And so when a baby isn't breastfed and isn't getting that emotional connection with their mother, they don't feel like they are being seen and felt. They feel like something is missing. And that is the bond, the glue that keeps them together, so that baby can grow up and have a healthy foundation within themselves, within their identity, to blossom into a healthy adult who is full of self-love and self-worth. And I see this time and time over again with my clients and also within myself. I definitely have suffered abandonment trauma big time. I wasn't breastfed, I was given formula, and both of my parents had to work. There was this absence of that connection. There was an absence of play and wonder and adventure. And so there was a part of me that felt like I missed out on my childhood. And to feel young and alive in those experiences and only have glimpses of those experiences. And so this pattern of abandonment that I've experienced from my parents, even though it wasn't intentional, that energetic patterning plays out in the way I show up for myself. Where have I abandoned myself? Where I can feel something doesn't sit right for me, but why am I not saying no? Why am I doing something for this person, but it's all about for their gain, and there's no respect, no appreciation on my end in this service? There are so many ways that we can show up in self-abandonment and play out these patterns in love, in our career, in our friendships, and most importantly, with ourselves. How far have we neglected ourselves to then reach a crisis to hit a breakdown? Do we need to allow ourselves to get there constantly to get a breakthrough? Do we need to constantly be there to finally wake up to our patterns and behaviors? Every soul is on their journey, and everyone has a different level of awareness with where they're at in life. And what I found has worked the best when it comes to navigating your identity in who you really are and finding yourself again is inner child healing. You see, being first generation Australian and raised by Chinese Malaysian parents was not an easy gig to go through. There was a lot of pain and suffering, a lot of drama, domestic violence, and fights around loyalty to the relationship, as well as how his money is being spent and how are we generating it, and so forth. Life was very heavy and serious, and I had to grow up very fast. I didn't have my parents to be a healthy role model for me, to have a healthy foundation within myself. And so I had to learn this by attending to these different versions of me that have been fragmented through abandonment to come back home into my heart again. And it's not just the inner child, it's the inner children that we all have within ourselves. Different timelines, different ages, different experiences that we went through as a baby, as a toddler, as a child, as a teenager, and even as an adult, where our needs were not met, where we felt neglected, where we didn't feel we were seen, heard, and felt in all sorts of situations. And so we need to take personal responsibility for ourselves, how we can fully show up for love, for all of those versions of ourselves. And so it's so easy to get caught up being the victim and blaming our parents. Why is it that they didn't teach us the right way, how we can be a healthy human being? By judging what's right and wrong doesn't create or make room for growth. And by being attached to being a victim of your life isn't going to get you anywhere. I've seen this many times where there's clients I have worked with who suffered strongly from the abandonment trauma that they really struggled to break away from being the victim of their life. It's basically their identity. And it's a hard one to break because of that lack of nourishment, nurture, care, presence, love, compassion, empathy, and connection that they missed out at a very young age. And so this trauma is so ingrained, it has formed their identity to play and be a victim. But we need to take that personal responsibility to break those patterns through awareness, to change our behaviors by rewiring how we're feeling on the inside. And that is by attending to those fragmented versions of ourselves that needs healing, that needs to be seen from a place of compassion and acceptance and not resentment and judgment, that needs to feel that it is safe to be loved, because this is the setback of abandonment trauma. There's a massive struggle to be receptive in receiving love. It's so easy to give it in order for you to find ways to receive love, but it doesn't feel safe to receive love just as you are. There's a part of you that doesn't feel like you're enough. There's a part of you that feels this deep sense of shame. Why was I not loved by my mother or father or both? Am I not enough? Why did you have me here if you didn't birth me to love me? So this is where it creates confusion in the baby's identity growing up as an adult, and we still carry those woundings and we struggle to move forward in our life. So if you are ready to dive deeper in healing different fragmented versions of you and to bring them into your heart space, I invite you to join me in my inner child healing course, Transform Wombs into Wisdom. There you shall find how to use my inner child healing method to heal different versions of yourself to come online with compassion and joy, as well as softness and forgiveness. That your shame is welcome, and your shame is here to show you how to love yourself even more rather than pushing yourself away. And that this container is here to support you in how to regulate your nervous system, to reconnect that love that you desire and deserve by bringing it back from within, and how to build that solid foundation within yourself, how to find balance within your healthy masculine and feminine, how to navigate your identity by being the light that's in your heart and not what you expect from yourself or what society expects from you or what your parents or your friends expect from you. No. It's about peeling away these layers of false identities that isn't yours to take, and to come back home to who you really are. So you can click on the link and learn more, or to enroll and get started straight away and get unlimited support from myself inside of that container. You can also come online with me for my Winter Solstice Ancestral Trauma Clearing Circle via Zoom, or to get access to the replay for 1 month, to start clearing these patterns of self-abandonment that we have inherited from our maternal and paternal lineages that has been passed down onto us, and if you have children, onto them as well. And this is a very potent container for you to start dissolving these karmic burdens that we have taken on that isn't ours, so we can start to create space and room for growth, for transformation, and for unconditional love from within. So you can click on the link to learn more or to book your spot. And you can also join me for my upcoming conscious relationship workshops and retreats, Transforming Trauma and Magnetic Woman workshops and retreats in South Australia. You can click on the link to learn more or to book your spot. And you can choose to work with me one-to-one, whether it's online for my 3-month container, Find Yourself and Trust, or to work with me for a half-day or full-day trauma recovery retreat to make it a tailored experience according to your needs, concerns, and outcomes. By watching my free webinar, Overcome the Impacts of Childhood Traumas in Just 3 Months. And there you have the opportunity to book a free clarity call to see if these containers are right for you. So there you have it, my love. Navigating identity isn't easy because there are layers of traumas and emotions there that are trapping us into an old way of being, an old programming to keep us stuck in survival. And that is fear, that there isn't enough love to go around because I didn't get it when I was a baby. And how can I have this witness and imprinted this beautiful programming of unconditional love instead? And to do that, you must attend to yourself from within through your inner children. Because the way out is by going within.